Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video. I am RoyalMixGaming and today we're going to go ahead and go over Flavius and his best pairs for Garrison. We're also going to go over his best pairs, some of the best gear probably that you could probably use for Flavius, and then we're also going to go over his talents and his pairs. So for Flavius, there have been tests and things done that I've seen on live streams and things like that. Some reports in KVKs that I'm going to show you at the end of this video. I'm going to show you those reports and you kind of can judge the situation based on what you think. But in general, I think that the best pair so far, unless something comes up in the next week or two, is going to be Zeno and Flavius, sorry. And it's going to be Zeno first and Flavius secondary. I would say the main reason for that is the support tree is better than the skill tree for Garrison because it reduces a lot of skill damage taken and things like that, which is really, really good. And then Zeno is a very good and swarm-resistant Garrison, which helps Flavius a lot. And in general, they are both a good pair that you can use just full infantry with, and it does really, really well. So when you're doing Flavius, his skills are 2300 damage factor to the current target, and also if the target is 50% of your units remaining, deals continuous additional damage for 3 seconds, up to 150 per turn. His second skill is extra attack, defense, and health. His third skill is going to be counterattack and extra stacks that stack up and give him more attack or damage over time. His fourth skill is extra, increases all damage dealt up to 10%, and when you launch a normal attack, the target is inflicted with an additional damage effect, similar to how Zenobia does an additional damage effect. And then also that Flavius, once the target is below 50%, does an additional damage over time. There's a chance to silence the target of 100% chance. Now this is kind of going to be the critical factor in doing rallies and garrisons, is when's the silence going to take effect is going to depend on how well the rally is going to do against you. Because if you're doing an XY Niv or something like that, messing with their rage by silencing them is a very big deal because they do so much skill damage per turn that they do their skills on, their primary skills. They do ridiculous amounts of damage with their skills, so messing with that really harms that rally. So, and then his expertise decreases normal attack damage by 10%, and when using an active skill, there's a 30% chance of inflicting 2 stacks of debuff, basically increasing your damage over time as you stack up, kind of like a Herald where he stacks up different stacks to give more damage over time. So we're going to go ahead and go over probably the best talents, and since we're going to be doing the best talents, we're going to go ahead and do it from Constantine, because Constantine has the same things as Zenobia does, infantry, garrison, and support. I have a tree here that we can probably try and just swap and use. So this is the talent tree that I would probably use for a Zenobia primary and a Flavius secondary. You can make the argument to do counterattack down here instead of doing the Iron Spear, but it just kind of depends on your preference. It might be better to get the counterattack instead of going for the Iron Spear, even though you're dealing additional damage to cavalry. And XY Nev is a pretty good rally, so it's kind of depending on what you're wanting to do, but I wouldn't get rid of Impregnable Fortifications because you're basically taking 6% all damage taken reduction, and Impregnable itself, skill damage taken is reduced by 15%. Those I wouldn't get rid of. You could probably do counterattack instead of doing Iron Spear. Kind of depends on what you're thinking, because if you're going to be using Zenobia, this is going to increase your attack by up to, I think it's like 9%, something like that, after you max it out. You basically ditch this stuff over here, but I would still go up to hold the line most likely, because you're getting a chance to reduce damage taken by 20% for 2 seconds when attacked. I think that's a pretty good skill. But if you feel like that's not necessary, you can do Undying Fury, Iron Spear, and probably do counterattack, all 3 of those, instead of doing the Hold the Line skill. But that's kind of depends on what your preference is. But something like this would probably be, in general, probably a fairly good talent tree for a Zenobia primary with Flavius secondary. So then we're also going to talk about what other pairs you could probably do with Flavius. I don't know if there's really any other pairs you can do with Flavius other than Zenobia right now. I've seen some reports with Flavius and YSS. It hasn't worked very well. I haven't done the test myself to see if there's any other pairs. You could probably try and test Flavius and Wu and stuff like that, but I feel like if YSS isn't doing well enough, then it's probably not going to be much better pairs than Zenobia primary with Flavius secondary. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of the extra reports, but that's pretty much most of the video is about, is going to be basically you're going to have to max both Zenobia and Flavius, put them together, and then have really good equipment. So probably the best equipment would be to try and do something similar to this with legendaries, obviously. So you're going to have the legendary one for infantry that's from KVK, which is not this one. You're going to have Hope Cloak, you're going to have the hammer, and then you're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and go to the forge, and I can just kind of show you what the best equipment real quick probably would be. It's going to be having this Helm of the Conqueror for infantry for helmets. You're going to have Hope Cloak, here's the chest. You're going to have probably, most likely it'd probably be these armors. Well, it's not those. It's the Van Braces for the infantry set. And then you're going to probably try and do the Eternal Night for your pants. Boots, probably going to be the, let's see, there's always these infantry boots that are further down. The sturdy boots, so you get the bonus from the set. And then you're probably going to do horn and ring, would probably be the best idea, I would think. Definitely do horn, or definitely do ring. You can always substitute horn for something else if you feel like you're going to get swarmed or something. But ring I would not get rid of in any situation, simply because I think the all damage increase is just very, very good. But if you want to swap horn out with something like vengeance or something, if you think you're going to get swarmed, then the horn's not necessary and it's going to give you more counterattack. That would basically be the set that I would do. And the last thing was just the weapon, probably the Hammer of Sun and Moon. Obviously, you want to have them all crit and things like that, but that's basically Imperium level, and you can't always have that. After that, you just want to make sure you have iconics on your accessories. For legendaries, you want to have both your accessories iconics, and then you probably want to do the other iconics, like I said in my video, that you can go ahead and check out and see what other iconics I would do in what order. But in general, over time, you should have the full set iconic so that you're ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and swap over and show you some of the reports that I've seen, and we can see what their results are. So here's the first report. It is on Chisco's live stream. Like I said, I haven't done any of these basically tests myself because we're waiting on the second MGE for Flavius, and none of my people honestly should max Flavius right away because basically that's just a waste of sculptures. Unless you're in KVK, there's no point in doing it. But this is basically the report where Gilga and Nebu and Zenobia Flavius are both maxed. Really good equipment on both sides, and the Zenobia Flavius wins. A second report is going to be another Zenobia Flavius versus Gilga Nebu. Same kind of thing. The Garrison wins, and the Gilga Nebu loses. I would say some of the problem with this report's kind of testing is that the Zenobia and Flavius heals, so you're getting some troops back. Even if you don't get a lot, you're still getting some troops back from this, so it kind of messes with the report in general if you are going to have both rallies full for long periods of time. And then this is another report here for XY Nev. XY Nev loses pretty hard here. Don't have the stats on this, but I feel like there was a lot of silencing of the XY Nev, which caused a lot of problems for the XY Nev, which resulted in this report here. Here is another report for Gilga Nebu and Zenobia Flavius, where the Gilga Nebu still loses. Here is another report that we're going to go ahead and zoom in on here. This is, I think, in KVK, where the XY Nev loses again to the Zenobia Flavius. I believe that they both got kind of low, and if the XY Nev had kept full, it probably would have been an even trade if the XY Nev had beaten the Zenobia Garrison and burned the flag. So, in general, I think that the rally to fight this is probably going to be Gilga Nebu, most likely, because it's against archers, against infantry. But if you have XY Nev, you're going to have to hope that they don't keep the flag full. And then some of the problem with this report is some of the support skills are going to affect the results. But as you can see here, it is in, I think, Russian, but you can see that the third line here, like the sixth row down and up 2 or 3 is the Cav stats. So it's 123.5 health, 149.5 defense, and 224% attack for the XY Nev, which is pretty good stats. I think is really, really good. And then the Zenobia Flavius stats are also very, very good. They are over 100% health for infantry, 170 defense, 219 attack, which is pretty good stats. So these are pretty much top tier garrisons and rallies hitting each other. And then these are some of the other stats that you can see. Could be that the Iconics had an influence on this, but I don't know overall. I don't know if the all damage had a big effect here, but I think that most likely Flavius buffs all damage some, so it might be just slightly different on the all damage because they buff all damage. Here's another report here, I think from the same, possibly the same KVK, not sure. It's Gilga Nebu against the Zenobia Flavius in KVK. The Gilganebu got low, which is why the Gilganebu did so poorly at the end here. They may have left it sit at 1 to 1.5 for a while, and that's why the Gilganebu didn't even get an even trade. Overall, you're still getting kind of this even trade here. I mean, it's slightly negative, but you let the rally go too low, and you're basically going to get a bad trade. So I think Gilganebu is definitely the way to go against Zenobia Flavius. And if you send basically anything else, the Zenobia Flavius is going to win. Here's another report here for, I think, let's see. I think it's for the same KVK. There's two reports here. There is it might be a different KVK, not sure. Zenobia Flavius against Attila Nev. Attila Nev is losing pretty hard, but the rally got super low and the flag was almost full. Most likely the same scenario where the flag was kept full all the time and the rally was not, so they got a bad trade. Same thing on the other side here. The rally is at 1 mil, the flag's almost full, which caused the rally to take so much more deads than the garrison. Stats-wise, I think the stats here are okay. Nothing too crazy, same kind of thing going on. Really good equipment for the garrison. I don't know if the rally had necessarily the best gear, but the stats here are not too bad, so it's pretty good overall. But this is basically the reports that I have so far on Zenobia Flavius, and it looks really good for the garrison. And I think that if you can keep the garrison topped off and they can't keep the rally full, you're going to get a really, really good trade. So that is all for this video. I showed you guys probably the best gear for Flavius and Zenobia. Putting Zenobia first is best, the best talents for Zenobia. There's some little bit difference on what you want to use. You probably want to get the healing talent for Zenobia simply because she heals. It's going to help her out a lot, so you probably want to ditch some of the other talents. But you can kind of mix and match and see what you think is best, but they're all pretty similar stats overall. And then I also showed you that I think that Flavius and Zenobia is the best pair. I don't have any reports from any other, pairs so far, but something else might come up. I'll let you guys know. But I really think that Zenobia and Flavius are a made pair, basically. So we'll probably be seeing a lot of Zenobia and Flavius and Garrison in KVK. So I'd recommend, if you are a Garrison captain, to get them both. And then we'll see what the new archers come out with. Hopefully it counters this, but we'll have to see. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you found it informative. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below with any questions. And I'll see you on the next one.